Hi friends, Robert here for Diverse Opals. Welcome back to our YouTube channel, and thank you to those of you who have been subscribing to our videos, to our channel, and also for those of you who have been leaving comments. Today, I want to talk about something that's actually very important to anybody who's considering doing carving. And you would have seen in the past we've done a lot of videos about carving. And maybe some of you are new to us and haven't seen them, but I suggest you perhaps go back and have a look at some of them. You might learn some things. And I want to ask today if and whether or not sintered diamond burrs are all the same. What I have before you are sintered diamond burrs that we've actually been using and stocking ourselves. I've been a little bit disappointed, I guess, over the years that we've been using sintered diamond burrs. I've been always looking for a good supply of them, of better quality burrs, perhaps better grading burrs, because in the past, such as these here, you have a burr like this, and this actually denotes the fact that it's super coarse. This actually denotes the fact that it's medium, and this is extra fine. But by my standards, these are very closely graded and they're not really fine enough. So I'm actually really excited today to be bringing something to you that is new for us, and I believe will fill a void and a gap that exists in the gemstone carving or opal carving industry. So today, I'm actually quite excited to be presenting these to you. These are actually European manufactured sintered diamond burrs. And in the past, when I've had sintered diamond burrs, in finer grades, I've actually cherished them and looked after them. And I've always thought it would actually be really nice to find a good supply of sintered diamond burrs for our customers. And of course, all of this information you can find in the description underneath the video. But instead of just being coloured and saying that it's coarse, medium, fine, extra fine, these are actually graded. And yes, they are coloured, so it's a quick glance for those of you who are looking, but these are the actual grades. We've got 40, 45, and that means that the range of grades that actually exist in this diamond burr are grades of grit particles of 40 to 45. And of course we have 60, 70, 80, 100, 120, 140, 170, 200, 200, 230, 325, 400, 500, 600, and 600, 800. Now, getting these finer grades in the past haven't been easy. And I'm just really happy to be able to offer these to you. We will be keeping supplies of two grades predominantly in a couple of different shapes, and that'll be this one, the 600, 800, and the 325, 400. Now, you've got to remember that although it's good to have coarse diamond burrs, you've got to think about how you're going to get to a final polish. Now, that really coarse burr that you buy and rips off everything is actually leaving lots of marks on the surface of your stone. And we have to get them out to actually achieve the final result. So it's quite often steps to get there. You can go from a very coarse burr to a very fine burr. But the problem with that is that it takes more time to get the final result that you need with the fine burr. So I've actually done a little bit of an experimentation trial myself and found that this is actually quite a good interim burr. It'll actually preserve your finer burr because it is in fact not the big jump from the coarse to the fine. It's an interim. And just say, for instance, you've got ironstones, hard ironstones sitting on opal. Yes, you can use your coarse burr, and you can get to the point of where you're starting to get that opal colour coming through the ironstone. You still have to take the ironstone off, and if you use this, it would take quite a bit of time, and in fact just perhaps be a bit hard, and it might be a little bit slow. But if you're using sort of an interim grade, you'll find that it actually makes the transition to here a lot quicker and a lot easier. These burrs can be used dry, can be used wet, and I like the bond itself. Bonds are very important. The actual metal particles, or sorry, the metal that encases the diamond is hard enough or soft enough to do the cutting properly, and that's important. These will fit most carving machines. If you have a Dremel, if you have a Faro, if you have a Fordom, if you have any form of dental drill, generally this will fit, because this is a 2.35 shank or a 3/32 or 3/32 inch shank. Now, for those of you who do not understand what a sintered diamond burr is, they mix the diamond particles in the powdered metal, and then they fuse it under heat, and they apply it to their mandrels and then grind them to shape. Now, these will be a little bit more expensive than the other types of burrs that we've been supplying, but believe you me, these are well worth the investment, and they do last a long time. Now, just by example, this is a burr that I've had for probably 15 years, and it's actually been one of my favourite burrs. It's an Interim Bur. I would say it's around about a 325, 400 grit. And it's been wonderful. It's just been this lovely interim stage that I've really enjoyed using before going to finer grades. And so it'll give you some sort of an idea of how long these things can last, providing you look after it. Of course, if you are going to use this type of grade exclusively, it may not last as long. So look after your finer grade burrs. Use your coarse grade burr for the purpose that it was built for, and that is to remove a lot of stock very quickly. Do most of the shaping that you can with your coarser grades, and save your finer grades for the purpose that they were built for as well. We'll get started with an 80-100, and then we'll progress from there. I'm working dry, and I am using a mask. Okay, so we finished now with our 80-100, and it's produced some better colour than I expected. It's actually quite pretty. I like this stripiness through it, quite unusual. Now that we've finished with our 80-100, I'm actually going to go to the next grade, and I'm going to use a 325-400 because actually I think it's a good interim grade. You can go straight to the finest grade if you're deciding to use these European sintered burrs, but in this situation I'm going to preserve the life of my 600 and 800 by going to a 325, just to sort of iron everything out. So we've just finished with our 325-400 grit. I haven't covered the surface quite as well as I should, but I feel that the little areas that I've actually missed will be covered by the 600 to 800 grit. As we're now with our final sintered grade, and as I said, this is a 600 to 800. It actually has a slower rate of cut. It actually feels different. It doesn't produce as much dust. And one option you can apply to doing this is if you want to completely eliminate your dust intake or dust production, and that is to in fact apply petroleum jelly to the surface of your stone. And that will completely eliminate dust. And of course, if you want to use a fan, you can use a side fan for blowing away the dust as well. But Yes, you can see this is working a little bit differently to the last grade, and speed is something that you will need to sort out for yourself, how fast you actually want your machine to run. And right, we're finished with our final grade of sintered diamond burr, the 6 to 800, and I hope that you can see a nice smooth finish on the surface of the piece of boulder. Well, we're finished with the medium grade of rubber abrasive and implementing the use of petroleum jelly as a form of lubricant. Okay, so we're finished with 1200 diamond paste. You should be seeing a noticeable difference in between the stages and the grades. We finished with the 3000 and we're beginning to see that this looks like it's polished. This is actually a 3000, is in fact a pre-polish. And if you've done all your stages correctly, the better the finish will be. We're beginning to see that the little areas that were perhaps not quite so good are starting to iron out. But one thing I do want to mention that I haven't mentioned so far is the importance of contamination. Now, in between all of your stages, if you're working with diamond paste, or at any stage where you might be using petroleum jelly in a combination with your rubber abrasives, it's important to wet a tissue and actually methodically go over the surface of your stone to make sure that you've in fact removed the grade that you're currently working on. So I've removed it with the 1200, I'm now removing it with the 3000, and also not just that, but also cleaning your fingers, because you're in fact holding these things in your hands, and what happens is at times the felt touches your finger, and so it actually contaminates your finger. So it's important that you do clean your fingers thoroughly as well. Well, here we are with our final result. Work can still be done to finish the back, but this video has been about trialling some sintered diamond burrs. You can see the outcome. I think the outcome is actually very, very good. And whether or not the sintered diamond burrs were an asset in this particular process, I believe they were, because getting to the stage of polishing is a tricky process, and if we don't have the right tools to be able to do it, it can take more time. All of the information that we're providing about this, all the products, all the tools, are actually going to be in the description at the bottom underneath the video. Check them out, consider them for yourself, but I hope that this has actually been of interest to you and have been of help to you in your way of processing of opal. I'm Robert for Diverse Opals. Thank you for watching.